IGNOU MPS Political Theory, Citizenship, Summary. Listen, study, smart. Citizenship in Political Theory. Introduction. Citizenship is one of the most fundamental concepts in political theory. It defines the relationship between the individual and the state. Citizenship is one of the most fundamental concepts in political theory. It defines the relationship between the individual and the state. A citizen is not merely a resident of a country, but a member of political community who possesses certain rights, duties, and sense of belongings. A citizen is not merely a resident of a country, but a member of a political community who possesses certain rights, duties, and sense of belonging. The idea of citizenship has evolved over time, from ancient Greek notion of civic participation to modern democratic and global perspective. The idea of citizenship has evolved over time, from ancient Greek notion of civic participation to modern democratic and global perspective. Historical evolution of citizenship. In ancient Greece, especially in Athens, citizenship was closely tied to participation in public life. So in ancient Greece, that is in Athens, citizenship was closely tied to participation in public life. Only freemen born to Athenian parents were considered a citizen. In Athens, only freemen born to Athenian parents were considered citizens. It implied an active role in political decision making and public affairs. So it was closely tied to participation in public life. Freemen born to Athenian parents were only considered citizens, and they implied active role in political decision making and public affairs. In Rome, citizenship had a more legal meaning. Roman citizens were granted legal right, protection, and privilege under the Roman law, regardless of their participation in politics. In Rome, citizenship had a more legal meaning. Roman citizens were granted legal right, protection, and privilege under the Roman law, regardless of their participation in politics. During the medieval period, citizenship lost its significance as feudal loyalties replaced civic ties. So, civic ties were replaced by feudal loyalties. Civic ties were replaced by feudal loyalties in medieval period, and citizenship lost its significance. However, with the rise of modern nation state in the 17th and 18th century, the idea of citizenship was revived. The rise of modern nation state in the 17th and 18th century revived the idea of citizenship, especially through the Enlightenment and the French Revolution. So, Enlightenment and French Revolution, which emphasized liberty, equality, and fraternity, revived the idea of citizenship. The rise of modern state, that was in 17th and 18th century, and especially through the Enlightenment and French Revolution, which emphasized the idea of liberty, equality, and fraternity, revived the idea of citizenship. So, in ancient Greece, it was closely tied to participation in public life. Only freemen born to Athenian parents were considered a citizen. In Rome, there was more legal meaning. Roman citizens were granted legal rights, protection, and privileges, regardless of their political participation. And medieval period, citizenship lost its significance because feudal loyalties replaced civic ties, and modern nation state with the emergence of modern nation state and French Revolution and Enlightenment, revived the now liberal perspective of citizenship. The liberal perspective views citizenship mainly in terms of individual rights and freedom. So remember the words individual rights and freedom. The liberal perspective views citizenship mainly in terms of individual rights and freedom. It focuses on protecting the liberty and equality of each person within the framework of state. It focuses on protecting the liberty and equality of each person within the framework of state. So the liberal perspective views citizenship mainly in terms of individual rights and freedom, and it focuses on protecting the liberty and equality of each person. So key terms individual rights and freedom and protect the liberty and equality of person. And key ideas of liberal perspective, first one, it's always said that individual rights, individual as the center. Citizenship is about the right of individual rather than collective duties. So citizenship is about rights of individual rather than collective duties. Every citizen is seen as an autonomous person with the freedom of choice. Every citizen is seen as an autonomous person with the freedom of choice. Idea of citizenship. Now, liberal perspective of citizenship of individually centered as well as it is right-based citizenship. Right-based citizenship because liberal thinkers like John Stuart Mill and John Locke argued that the main purpose of the state is to protect life, liberty, and property. So, liberal thinkers John Locke and John Stuart Mill argued that the main purpose of the state is to protect life, liberty, and property. Later, T.S. Marshall classified citizenship right into civil right, political right, and social right. Civil right, freedom of speech, equality before law, and political right include right to vote and contest election. Social right include education, welfare, security, health, etc. So in right-based citizenship, it is the feature of liberal perspective citizenship. Liberal thinkers John Locke and John Stuart Mill argued main purpose of the state is to protect the life, liberty, and property of people. And T.S. Marshall classifies the right into civil right, political right, and social right. Next, equality before law. All citizens are equal in the eyes of law, regardless of social status or class. All citizens are equal in the eyes of law. All citizens are equal in the eyes of law, regardless of social class and status. Limited role of the state. The state should not interfere in private life beyond ensuring protection of right. State should not interfere in private life beyond ensuring protection of rights. So state should protect the rights but should not interfere in public life. Citizens are free to pursue their interest. Citizens are free to pursue their interest. Now, main criticism of the liberal perspective is they ignore economic inequalities and collective responsibilities. There are collective responsibilities and economic inequalities. They are focusing too much on individualism. This is the problem with the liberal perspective of citizenship. Now, Republican perspective of citizenship. The Republican view of citizenship emphasizes active participation, public virtue, and commitment to the common good. Active participation, public virtue, and commitment to the common good. It sees citizens not just holders of rights, but the members of a political community who share responsibility for maintaining freedom and justice. They are not just right holders, but members of community who has responsibility to maintain freedom and justice. And its key features, it's active citizenship, not passive. Citizenship must participate in public life like voting, deliberation, civic duties to keep democracy alive. Citizenship should participate in public life. That means Aristotle said, man is by nature a political animal. Common good. Republican theory values the collective welfare over individual interest. So, Republican theory values over the collective interest over individual interest. Liberal was concentrated on individual rights, but here it's collective welfare. Freedom is meaningful only when all share it equally. Freedom is meaningful when only when all share it equally. And civic virtue. Citizens should act with a moral responsibility and public spirit, putting community welfare above self-interest. So, civic virtue was another feature of a Republican perspective citizenship, because citizens should act with the moral responsibility and public spirit, putting community welfare above self-interest. Community welfare above self-interest. So, thinkers Aristotle was the citizenship means active participation in ruling and being ruled. Citizenship means active participation in ruling and being ruled. And Rousseau, the social contract, argued that true freedom lies in obeying laws one has helped make. A communitarian perspective. Next, the communitarian view is closely related to republicanism but focuses more on the social moral community in which individual live. So it focuses more on social and moral community. So person identity and values are shaped by their community culture and shared traditions. They says that a person identity and values are shaped by the community culture and shared tradition. Key features: community centered citizenship. Citizenship rooted in belonging. Individuals are connected to shared values and responsibilities. Individuals are connected to shared values and responsibilities. Communitarian perspective, this critic of liberalism, because communitarians like Charles Taylor, Michael Sander, and Alastin McIntyre criticized liberalism for treating citizens as isolated individuals without social ties. And moral responsibility. Citizenship involve moral obligation, caring for others. Moral obligation, that is caring for others, contributing to community, and preserving its ethical foundation. This is about communitarian perspective. Marxist perspective. From a Marxist viewpoint, citizenship in capital society is limited, it is superficial. Karl Marx criticized bourgeois citizenship, emphasizing formal equality, but they were ignoring real economic inequality. In capitalist system, according to Marx, citizens are alienated from political and economic decision making. The state serve capital interest, maintaining conditions that exploit workers. So, in capitalist system, according to Marx, citizens are alienated from political and economic decision making. So, true citizenship, according to Marx, can be achieved only in a classless communist society where individuals are free from exploitation. So, in a classless communist society only, there is a true citizenship is possible. This is the idea of Marx. Feminist and post-colonial thinkers further expanded the idea of citizenship. Feminists like Caroline Peterman pointed out how traditional notion of citizenship excluded women from the public sphere. And also the post-colonial theorists highlighted how colonial and racial hierarchies denied full citizenship to marginalized groups. In the globalized world, the meaning of citizenship is changing. Issues like migration, dual citizenship, and human rights have led to discussion of global citizenship that go beyond natural boundaries. Issues like migration, dual citizenship, and human rights have led discussion to global citizenship. Environmental and digital citizenship also highlight new responsibility and forms of participation in the 21st century. At the same time, challenges such as nationalism, xenophobia, and statelessness raise questions about who is included or excluded from citizenship. The detailed video of this chapter will be uploaded separately, and in next video we will come with a summary of another chapter. Thank you.